The shock of the words wasn't just the sheer malice. It was the timing. It was Christmas Eve. The air in their large, meticulously decorated living room was thick with the scent of pine and expensive French wine. I was 30 minutes late. 30 minutes, and I had a damn good reason. A sudden, unexpected blizzard had turned the usually short drive from my apartment into a tense, white-knuckle crawl. I was out of breath and shaking off snow when I walked in, expecting the usual polite, rushed greeting before the festivities continued. Instead, silence descended, broken only by the distant crackle of the fireplace. My daughter, Amelia **, looked stressed and embarrassed. My two young grandchildren, bless their hearts, were confused. And then there was Ethan **, my son-in-law, standing beside the massive, glittering Christmas tree, holding a crystal glass high in the air. He was a successful hedge fund manager, a man who saw everyone and everything purely in terms of assets and liabilities. And I, George **, a recently retired middle school history teacher, was, clearly, a liability. Ethan had already launched his traditional pre-dinner toast, and I, the last remaining guest to arrive, had interrupted his performance. He didn't lower the glass, he just looked at me, a cold, calculated smile spreading across his face, and then, without missing a beat, he finished his toast, aiming the words directly at me, loud enough for the 10 family members present to hear every syllable. ***, and to absent friends and unexpected interruptions. I truly hope he's gone for good this time. ***, the glass descended with a sharp clink ***. Gone for good. He didn't just mean absent, he meant dead. He was toasting my permanent, terminal absence from their lives, mocking my delay and the very idea of me being present for Christmas. I felt the blood rush to my head, my exhaustion instantly replaced by an ice-cold clarity of purpose. This wasn't a slip of the tongue. This was Ethan revealing his deepest wish, his desire to erase me, the final financial link between Amelia and the past. The core conflict was instant and catastrophic. Did I, a 62-year-old, newly retired man with no interest in drama, swallow the horrific insult for the sake of a quiet Christmas and my daughter's precarious peace? Or did I expose Ethan for the calculating, cold-hearted monster he was, knowing that any confrontation would shatter Amelia's picture, perfect family life, and potentially end the only connection I had left to my beloved grandchildren? Was I right to prioritize my dignity over family harmony, or should I have just laughed it off? Tell me if you would have dropped the issue, or if you would have immediately started a war right there in front of the Christmas tree. To understand why this insult was the final straw, and why walking away wasn't an option, you have to know the history of my relationship with Ethan, and the quiet, pervasive control he exerted over Amelia. I am George, 62, and Amelia is my only daughter. She had always been a sweet, sensitive girl, but since marrying Ethan 10 years ago, she had slowly transformed into a brittle, high-strung woman, constantly anxious about maintaining the perfect image Ethan demanded. Ethan was wealthy, yes, but he used his wealth as a leash. He controlled Amelia's life, her friends, her schedule, and especially her finances. I knew, deep down, that Amelia wasn't happy. She was just perpetually terrified of disappointing Ethan. I retired just 6 months prior, using my modest pension and the small savings Eleanor, my late wife, and I had accumulated to buy a tiny, unglamorous apartment. I was enjoying my retirement, reading history books, and staying out of their way. Or so I thought. The reality was, Ethan hated me because I was a constant reminder of the modest life Amelia had left behind, and worse, I was the sole keeper of a family secret that, if revealed, would destroy the one thing Ethan truly worshipped, his reputation. The secret was rooted in Ethan's history, specifically his origin story, as a self-made financial genius. He claimed to have worked his way through college on scholarships and sheer grit. The truth was far darker. Years ago, before he met Amelia, Ethan was engaged to a woman named Clara. Clara came from old money, quiet, discreet wealth held in a series of tightly managed, diversified trust funds. Ethan, then a struggling intern, had systematically seduced her, not for love, but for access to her financial world. Clara, deeply in love, gave him access to a critical seed fund worth over $1.5 million to start his first small hedge fund, the fund he always credited as the beginning of his empire. Tragically, Clara died in a kayaking accident before they could marry. Ethan, with ruthless efficiency, ensured all legal ties to Clara and her money were erased, presenting himself as a sympathetic widower who had built his fortune from nothing. I only knew this because my late wife, Eleanor, had been Clara's distant cousin and confidante, and Clara, terrified of Ethan's sudden coldness before her death, had sent Eleanor a detailed, notarized package, a kind of dead man's switch containing ironclad proof that the $1.5 million was a loan from Clara's trust, not a gift, and that Ethan had effectively defrauded her estate before her death. Eleanor had kept the documents safe, intending to use them only if Ethan ever truly harmed Amelia. When Eleanor died 5 years ago, she passed that dark package, hidden inside a hollow, doubt copy of The Great Gatsby directly to me, instructing me to use it only if Ethan's control became destructive. "He'll hate you, George, because you know his truth," she had warned, "but promise me you'll protect Amelia with it." Ethan had no idea I held this sword of Damocles over his head. His contempt for me, the poor history teacher, was genuine, fueled by his belief that I was powerless. The Christmas toast, the wish that I was gone for good, wasn't just rudeness. It was the final, undeniable proof that his influence was now actively destructive, and that he viewed my very existence as a threat to be eliminated. His malice towards me was now reaching critical mass. I couldn't risk Amelia's safety or my grandchildren's future by letting him believe he could speak to me that way without consequence. The party continued around me, forced, awkward conversation filling the void left by Ethan's vile wish. Amelia rushed over, whispering urgently, "Dad, just ignore him. He's had too much wine." Ignoring him meant accepting my elimination. I looked at the two beautiful grandchildren 8-year-old Lily and 6-year-old Noah playing innocently nearby, and I knew I couldn't let their world be dominated by a man who wished their grandfather dead. I retreated, not out of fear, but to retrieve the weapon. I excused myself, claiming the sudden cold had given me a headache, and drove back to my apartment. I retrieved the book, the heavy, hollow, Gatsby*, and opened the package. Inside were photocopies of wire transfers, signed affidavits from Clara's estate manager, and most importantly, a detailed, handwritten loan agreement between Ethan and Clara's trust for the $1.5 million seed fund, complete with a clause stating the loan was recallable immediately upon discovery of any breach of fiduciary duty or financial misrepresentation. This document, now worth several $1 million due to interest and the fund's growth, was the nuclear bomb. Ethan had misrepresented this key asset to his current investors. claiming it was his own seed capital. Exposing this would trigger massive SEC scrutiny, investor panic, and an instant collapse of his hedge fund, the source of all his power. I drove back to the house, arriving late again, but this time the car was parked perfectly, and I walked in with a quiet, terrifying calm. The dinner was over. Everyone was clustered in the living room for gifts, so that's the situation I was in. I was standing in my son-in-law's living room, holding the proof that he built his multi-million-dollar empire on a foundation of fraud and deceit, ready to detonate his entire life because he wished me dead during a Christmas toast. I was risking my daughter's marriage, the comfort of my grandchildren, and unleashing a massive financial scandal that would rock the city's elite. My choice was simple: return the package to the hollow book and pretend the toast never happened, or use the proof to execute a single, surgical act of total financial destruction, ensuring Ethan's power over Amelia was permanently gone. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have prioritized the possibility of peace and silence, or would you have chosen to completely destroy the man who wished you gone for good? Seriously, let me know what choice you would have made right there. I chose total, calculated destruction. Peace under Ethan's shadow was never true peace, only suppressed terror for Amelia. The wish that I was gone for good was my activation signal. I walked back into the living room. Ethan was holding the children on his lap, smiling broadly for a photo Amelia was taking. The image of the perfect family man. This facade made my hand tremble, but also stiffened my resolve. I didn't cause a scene. I waited until the photo was taken, and then, without raising my voice, I addressed the room. Ethan, Amelia, before we move on to gifts, I want to properly respond to Ethan's kind toast from earlier. The room instantly fell silent again, the holiday cheer evaporating into thick, anxious air. I pulled out the documents, the original loan agreement, and the affidavit. Not the copies, but the authenticated, notarized originals. I placed them gently on the coffee table beside a massive bowl of holiday nuts. Ethan, I said, my voice measured and calm, you wished I was gone for good. I appreciate your honesty, but I'm here now, and I brought you a present. A final financial review of your origin story. I gestured to the papers. This is the signed, recallable loan agreement from the Clara Hayes Trust, documenting the $1.5 million seed fund you claimed was your own capital. I believe that loan, with compound interest, is now worth closer to $6.5 million, and, under the original terms, it is instantly recallable upon any financial misrepresentation. Since you claimed this was your seed capital to every investor, board member, and the SEC, I believe we have met the misrepresentation clause. The silence in the room was absolute, so profound it hurt my ears. Ethan's face drained of color, going from confident red to ash gray in seconds. He looked at the documents, then at me, then back to the documents, realizing the magnitude of the exposed truth. His eyes held no anger, only a terrifying, predatory fear. Amelia started to cry, a small, choked sound. Dad, what are you doing? What is this? I looked at Amelia, and my heart ached. I'm protecting you, sweetheart. Your husband didn't build his empire on grit. He built it on fraud against a dead woman's trust. This is the truth Eleanor entrusted me with. I didn't wait for Ethan's inevitable explosion. I already had the second phase in motion. While driving back earlier, I had made a critical phone call, not to the police, but to a former, key investor of Ethan's hedge fund, a man who had been looking for a reason to challenge Ethan's high-risk strategies. I didn't send the documents. I merely gave the investor the critical asterisk date asterisk and asterisk amount asterisk of the original seed fund and suggested he look into the true origin of Ethan's initial capital, citing a potential loan fraud. That call, coming from an anonymous burner phone, was enough. As I finished speaking, a low, persistent vibration started emanating from Ethan's pocket. It was his work phone. He fumbled for it, his hands shaking. The text chain was immediate and catastrophic. His managing partner, reacting to the investor's suspicious inquiry, had just frozen all trading and called an emergency board meeting. The hedge fund was in a state of sudden, paralyzing crisis. The $5 million recallable loan, now proven to be misrepresented on filings, was the financial equivalent of an immediate audit and criminal investigation. Ethan's empire wasn't just threatened, it was collapsing in real time right there under the Christmas tree. Ethan finally lunged, not at the documents, but at me, his face contorted in a silent scream of absolute, primal rage. Before he could reach me, my cousin, a large former police officer, who was also at the dinner, Ethan never noticed him, smoothly intercepted him, pulling Ethan back and holding him firmly until he dissolved into incoherent, defeated curses. Amelia's marriage was over right then and there. She didn't need me to tell her. The look in Ethan's eyes, the raw, hateful venom directed at her, told the full story of their transactional relationship. She saw the man, not the facade. She left the room, taking the children, and she never came back to that house. Ethan's hedge fund was dissolved within a week. The SEC and the executors of the Hayes Trust launched immediate investigations. The $5 million was recalled, bankrupting him. He went from a multi-millionaire hedge fund manager to a man facing civil and potential criminal charges within a month. He lost the house, the cars, and the reputation he cherished above all else. Amelia divorced him quickly, using the legal and financial chaos to ensure a swift and clean break, saving what little emotional wreckage remained. My life, meanwhile, found its new center. Amelia, broken but free, needed her father. She moved back into my modest apartment, temporarily with the children. The noise and chaos of a full apartment is a joy compared to the terrifying silence I endured before. I sold The Great Gatsby hollow book to a specialty collector for a surprising amount. It was, after all, a unique item tied to a massive financial scandal. I used the money to start a college fund for Lily and Noah. I don't go to Ethan's house for Christmas anymore. We spend it here, a small, quiet, and truly happy celebration where the only toasts are to family, survival, and freedom. I may have destroyed my daughter's marriage, but I saved her life from a man who wished her father was gone for good. I finally fulfilled the promise I made to Eleanor. Like this video if you agree that Ethan deserved the total financial destruction he got. Subscribe for more stories about hidden secrets and monumental betrayals. And please, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section below. Do you think I should have confronted Ethan privately first? Or was the public, immediate destruction the only way to ensure Amelia's safety? I'll see you all in the next story.